Hey everyone, good afternoon still. It's about 10 minutes to 5 here in lovely Tucson, Arizona, where it's still 100 degrees. Today, I'm going to show you how I fry chicken. Many years ago, I had a grandmother who fried chicken so perfectly. And not until recently did I understand how she did it. I do remember that she told me one time I just cook it slow in the pan with a lid on it. Well, come to find out, that's not really fried chicken. That's what they call in the South smothered chicken. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I have got the chicken I'm going to fry up tonight. I've got a couple drumsticks, a couple wings, and a couple thighs. That's all that I want. Usually I would use a whole chicken and would cut it up, and maybe I can do a video on that sometime in the future, how to cut up a whole chicken. It's not really that difficult at all. And in this bowl I've got some self-rising flour and to coat the chicken. And this is real simple. There are a lot of recipes out there for all kinds of herbs and spices and fancy ways of making your chicken crispy and crunchy and all of that, but mine is pretty simple. So I'll be right back as soon as I get the ingredients all set up. Alrighty, so I've got my chicken in a bowl here, ready to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a little bit of buttermilk on it, whole buttermilk. I always smell the milk before I use it. Smells fine. And I'm just going to pour just a little bit on there. Not too much. And then on my chicken, I just like simply salt and pepper. That's all I'm going to put on it. I'm going to go pretty good and liberal with the salt. And let me get the pepper. Just some good pepper. Alrighty. Now I'm going to mix it up. Let me put this other chicken elsewhere. I'm going to stir this up with my hands and make sure everything gets coated in the buttermilk. And you can see it's all very well coated in the buttermilk. I'm going to clean my hands off. And now we are going to coat the chicken. I already have a pan on the stove heating up with some canola oil in it. You can use lard. You can use Crisco if you like. I just had some canola oil left over from something else, and I'm just going to use that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a few pieces of chicken at a time to this flour. Let's see, let's go with a leg. I am going to put the lid on top of the bowl. I found this bowl at the neighborhood Walmart, and I'm just going to shake. Get it all coated really well. Alrighty, let me get something to put the chicken on. Just going to lift it out of the flour. Shake some of the excess off. There we go. I'm going to set that aside. And then we're going to do the next ones. By the way, you can use self-rising or you can use all-purpose flour. It doesn't matter. I just happen to have self-rising flour on hand, so I decided to go that route. All right, we're going to put that in the sink to clean out later. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Flashback to the 70s there. KC and the Sunshine Band, I believe. Alrighty. Set this down in here. There we go. Chicken is all coated, salt and pepper, flour. So now we're just going to put this into the pan. Let me see if the oil is ready. Give me just a moment. Show you all a little trick. What I've got here is a bamboo chopstick. If you stick that in the oil and it bubbles around the chopstick, that means your oil is hot and ready. And this one is. So, let's see here. I am going to go ahead and put the thighs in. A leg. Maybe a couple legs. The other thigh. And maybe the wing. So I put those in and I'm going to cover it. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit so we can fry it nice and slowly. I'm going to get my food thermometer because you definitely want to cook the chicken until it's 165 degrees in internal temperature. So I'm going to let that fry for just a few minutes and then we'll turn it over. While we're waiting on the chicken to cook, let me just share with you that of course, like most people, I had two sets of grandparents. My grandmother that fried the chicken was on my father's side. Her name was Sadie McCoy, or Sadie Rice was her married name. Her maiden name was Sadie McCoy, and she was from the lineage, her father was Jake McCoy, but long story short, I come from a family line of the McCoys and the Hatfields. She grew up in a little town in Kentucky called Freeburn, and she learned how to cook and do everything there when she was just a young girl. So she fried chicken for many, many years. And every time I would go back from Tucson, go back to Michigan to visit with her, she always had fried chicken cooking on the stove, ready for you as soon as you walked in the door. On my mother's side, my grandmother there, her name was Verta Scalf, and Grandma Scalf always liked a good corned beef. So whenever I went to visit her there in Michigan, she always had a corned beef in the oven ready to go. And we'd sit down and eat corned beef and cabbage and sliced tomatoes. And she loved chow chow. She always had chow chow on hand. And I never ate any of it as a kid or when I was younger, but this last year I made a whole batch of chow chow and have become quite fond of it. It's especially good with if you cook up a pot of pinto beans or butter beans, any kind of beans. It's also good as just on the side as a relish. So, Grandmother Rice, fried chicken. Nobody could cook it like her. and grandmother's scalp was a corned beef. I miss them both dearly. So, all right, we're going to check this chicken and see where we're at. Alrighty, you can see the chicken's frying. You can see it's starting to brown a little bit on the edges, developing those good crispy parts, or what some people refer to as the goodies. It's got a ways to go yet, so we're going to put the cover back on and let it continue to cook. And I'll see you in just a bit. When it comes to turning the chicken, I use a pair of tongs and a spatula. I use a spatula just in case the chicken is stuck to the bottom. I'll use that to kind of scrape it off, because you don't want any of those goodies to tear off and stick to the bottom. So we're getting ready to turn the chicken here in just a bit. Alright, so we're going to turn the chicken here. One wing, one drumstick, the other drumstick, and we're going to turn this breast, or thigh. So you can see it's already developing the crust on it. And now that we've got it turned over, we've got to cook it a little longer. And we'll cook it up to a 165, checking it with a food thermometer. Alright, I turned it over one more time. And I think that's probably the last turnover before it's done. Okay, so according to the food thermometer, the wing is done. Put that on a paper towel lined plate. The drumsticks are done. You move the thighs to the center so they get more even heat. Look here what I did with the leftover chicken that I will bake or fry at some later time. I put it in a food saver bag. It's all vacuumed out, ready to go in the freezer. Lot of debate on food savers, but I like mine. I've had it for years. I still keep other plastic bags around from time to time. But when it comes to freezing things, I prefer to use the food saver and vacuum pack it. Okay, y'all, that first batch is done, ready to go. Looks really good. And I've got one more wing and one more thigh to go. So I took the chicken that I had left over, and I put it in a food saver bag and vacuum packed it to put in the freezer. I'll use that later for another recipe that my grandmother used to enjoy making, was chicken, what she called chicken noodles. So basically chicken with boiled chicken, and then stripping the meat off of the bones, and then she put it in egg noodles with some peas, carrots, and then usually used Campbell's cream of chicken soup as a base to kind of moisturize it all, and she called it chicken noodles. So we got that all put away. There's a lot of debate over food savers, whether they save you money or not. I prefer it because when you put it in a vacuum seal, yeah, I think it freezes better. No chance of freezer burn or anything like that. So that's why I like it. I've had mine for years and used it for years. I mean, I also carry other little Ziploc bags and things, quart size and sandwich size, for little things that don't necessarily need to go in the freezer, but I need to put them in a bag to keep them safe. So, all right, the chicken is almost done. We'll see you in a bit. A lot of people might ask, how do you fry that chicken without it splattering all over the place? Well, that's magic. Actually, it does splatter all over the place. We save some of that because we put a lid on it. But when I'm turning the chicken, grease and oil goes everywhere. But I'll tell you how it looks so nice is in between takes, I'm cleaning, wiping down the stove, trying to get that oil up as quick as possible. Because I don't want y'all to see my messy stove when I'm cooking. So, alrighty. Another hint I'll give you, if you can at all, invest in some good cast iron skillets. I have a few. I've got a 12-inch, a 10-inch, and I have some little ones that I like to make baked eggs in for breakfast sometimes. But they cook real well, especially when it comes to fried things like fried chicken, fried okra, fried chicken livers. They just distribute the heat real even, and they're good. And not a whole lot of maintenance on them. You can find them, I mean, if you want to pay full price in the major department stores. But also check like Craigslist, eBay, Amazon, or if you're adventurous, go around to some yard sales, see what you can find. And even if they're looking old and rusty, you can bring that pan right back to luster by cleaning it up and putting a little oil in it and treating it. And once you get it halfway done, then all you got to do is use it to cook in, cook bacon, cook sausage, fried chicken, whatever, and then let that oil just sit in the pan for a few days and let the pan absorb all that oil, and you'll have a good pan that'll last you forever. We're just waiting on one last piece of chicken, a chicken thigh. It's being stubborn. It doesn't want to cook up to temperature, so we'll just keep letting it sit in there and fry and fry and fry until it comes up to temperature. Occasionally you'll get a piece of meat that'll do that. It just takes it a while to come up to temperature. Alright, so the chicken is ready. I'll show you what we got. There we go, some wonderful fried chicken with lots of goodies on it, goodies and crunchies. And we'll let it sit here and drain a little bit. And then we're going to have some fried chicken for dinner with some buttered bread and some corn. And I'm missing another vegetable, but I don't really feel like cooking anymore. So we're going to call it a day. All right, you have a good evening. Bon appetit. Remember, life is beautiful, and you have a blessed day tomorrow. All righty, bye-bye.